Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. Governor Bello Matawale commiserates with victims of attack. President Muhammadu Buhari calls for an end to street protests. Fashola light on 600 billion naira allocation for road construction. On business, another group of private school owners in Kano have not reduced school fees by 25%. And on the international scene, 9 Nigerian Americans are contesting in U.S. elections. Now the news in details. Governor Bello Muhammad Matawale Maradon has expressed his heartfelt condolence to the families of victims of dastardly attack on innocent citizens of Gidanguga community by recalcitrant bandits. Governor Bello Matawale, who sympathized with those who underwent the trauma as well, assured that what is happening these days in terms of banditry attacks is not a security lapse, but a momentary hiccup that will not be allowed to last. For more details on the story, Musa Joy reports.
He saw the attack further expose the desperation of the bandits who are experiencing heavy pressure from the offensive launch by security operatives in recent times. The governor assured law-abiding citizens of Zamfara State that the experience they are undergoing will not last. The bandits are experiencing sustained pressure, which they react through cowardly and desperate attacks on innocent citizens. The governor said they will not rest on their oars until they find a lasting solution to the emergence of violence in the communities. He called for maximum cooperation from the communities in terms of swift intelligence report. Musa Joy Onyoza reporting for Svtv, Gusto.
Former Governor Senator Ahmad Sani Yariman Bakura has extended his condolence and sympathy to Maradin Emirate, Bokoyin and Anka, as well as some parts of Zamfara State over the recent attacks by some bandits which led to the demise of some people and loss of many properties. The former governor prayed Allah to forgive the shortcomings of the loved ones and give their families the courage to bear the irreparable loss. He also prayed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to avert future occurrence of such unwanted incidents. A member of the House of Representatives representing Wamako and Kware Federal Constituency, Alhaji Ahmad Abdullahi Kalambaina, APC Sokoto, has donated assorted farm implements and cash to 50 dry season farmers. The largest was part of the Kalambaina's 2020 Capital Intervention Constituency project. The benefiting farmers also underwent a 2-day interactive training on rice planting, processing and marketing. For more details on the story, Sumaya Dusara reports.
The items and money were presented to the benefiting farmers on Saturday in Sokoto at the graduation ceremony. In his address during the graduation, the initiator of the gesture, Alhaji Ahmad Abdullahi Kalambaina, said the program was aimed at boosting dry season farmers in his constituency. Alhaji Ahmad Kalambaina described agriculture as a potential cash cow of the state and Nigeria in general. The MP said this is more so, especially the fact that Sokoto soil is fertile, that is capable of producing any crops within a short time. He further explained that the participants were drawn from the 2 local government areas where he represents, even as he called on them to use the materials provided to them judiciously. The MP further assured the people of the area that in the next couple of weeks, a similar program will be conducted for another set of 100 dry season farmers. According to him, the relentless gesture was in the bid to encourage them to boost their farming activities in the area. Sumaya Dosa reporting for SVTV News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has again urged the youth to end their street protests and work with the government to find solutions to issues that agitate their minds. The president, who spoke in Abuja on Sunday at the maiden National Youth Day celebration observed on November 1st and coinciding with the African Youth Day celebration, encouraged youth to have meaningful discussions with governments in order to have comprehensive reforms on police brutality. The president, who was represented by the Minister for the Federal Capital Treasury (FCT), Mohammed Bello, told the gathering that his administration had carefully listened to the pleas of Nigerian youth and had begun work on their agitations. For more details on the story, Svtv Ibrahim reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari also announced that over 1 million applications have been received since the Youth Investment Fund portal opened on October 12, 2020. A statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, said that the President added that the federal government now wants to hear concrete and practical ideas from youth while acknowledging their constitutional right to peaceful protest. The President called on youth to realize that protests cannot last indefinitely and assured that his government will not lift a hand to stop or suppress them. However, the fact of the matter is that other forces and actors will seek to take over their protest, that they may redirect them in ways you did not intend and perhaps do not agree with. Every successful protest movement in the world has understood that there will be a time when activities must move from the street to the negotiation table. That time for you has come. Do not be afraid of this reality. You should welcome it. Svtv Ibrahim.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmad, has urged parents to instill family values in their children as a way to save the country from degeneration. The minister made the call on Saturday in Kaduna during a stakeholders engagement with 77 district heads, religious and community leaders from the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State. The minister drew the attention of parents that if they fail the children in instilling good values in them, the country will be in trouble. For more details on the story, Peter Phillips reports.
Hajiya Zainab Ahmed said, "We need to remind ourselves that our children need to be upright and that this criminality going on daily basis is not for their benefit and the benefit of the state and country." The minister appreciated efforts by the Kaduna State government in managing security issues in the state. Hajiya Zainab Ahmed told the stakeholders that the federal government has created a 75 billion naira entrepreneurship support fund to enable youth in the country to grow their businesses and be economically independent. The minister explained that the fund would support the youth to actualize their innovative and entrepreneurial ideas, be productive and employers of labor. Also speaking at the event, the Minister of Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud, called for collective efforts to tackle the security challenges in the country. He urged the stakeholders to support the government in addressing the security challenges and unemployment in the country. The minister advised the youth to be self-reliant by focusing on skills acquisition and not depending on the government. Peter Phillips, reporting for SVTV News.
The Senate on Sunday denied a statement credited to Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola that the National Assembly should be held responsible for the poor construction of federal roads in Benue State. Mr. Fashola was quoted to have made the claim when retired generals and other leaders of thought from Benue's South Senatorial District visited him in Abuja. He was said to have alleged that 600 billion naira proposed for capital expenditure was not approved by the National Assembly. For more details on the story, over now to our correspondent, Hawa Muhammad.
The group, led by Air Vice Marshal Morgan Monday, retired, has reportedly complained about the deplorable state of roads in the Senatorial District. However, in a statement by Chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Ajibola Basiru, the upper chamber described the allegation as a fallacy of the highest order. Senator Basiru insisted the National Assembly cannot and should not be held responsible for the deplorable state of road, whether in Benue or in any other part of the country. He said even though the Senate would not want to join issues with the ministry over the claim, it decided to publicly debunk the allegation because the issue of road infrastructure is important and controversial. He added it was necessary to put the record straight so as to disabuse the mind of the undiscerning members of the public about the acts of the National Assembly. The records needed to be set straight so that the two arms of government should not be seen as working at cross purposes in the cause of delivering, dividing, and good governance to the electorates. Hawa Muhammad, reporting for SVTV News.
On business, over to Musa Joy.
Welcome to Business Desk. The Joint Committee of Private and Voluntary Schools Associations in Kano State has distanced itself from the decision of Association of Private School Owners of Nigeria to reduce third-term school fees by 25% in the state. Reports say that members of the Association of Private School Owners of Nigeria on Sunday agreed to reduce school fees charges by 25% as directed by Kano State Ministry of Education. The association announced their decision when they paid a solidarity visit to the Commissioner of Education, Malam Mohammed Sanusi Said Kiru, in his office. This was contained in a statement issued by the ministry's public relations officer, Aliu Yusuf, on Sunday. In a statement released late on Sunday night, Joint Committee of Private and Voluntary Schools Associations in Kano State said it has not decided on the school fees reduction as announced by another association of private school owners. The report explained that the Joint Committee of Private and Voluntary Schools Associations consists of Association of Model Islamic Schools, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, and Independent School Proprietors Association, Kano State. It could be recalled that Kano State Ministry of Education had last week threatened private school owners to cancel third term if the private school owners refused to reduce school fees, as it was a precondition to have the third term in their meetings prior to reopening schools after the COVID-19 pandemic. The Joint Committee of Private and Voluntary Schools Association, in its statement, said the decision to reduce the school fees otherwise would be taken on November 15th. And that's all on Standard Voice Business Update. I am Musa Joy Onyoza.
And on the international scene, no fewer than 9 Nigerian Americans are on the ballot for Tuesday's general elections in the United States. Running mostly on the platform of the Democratic Party, the candidates are bidding for different offices at the federal, state, and local levels. Reports said that, besides the presidential election, governorship polls are holding in 11 states and 2 territories, in addition to other state and local elections. Congregational elections are also holding on Tuesday, with all the 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and 35 of the 100 seats in the Senate up for grabs. At the federal level, Oye Owolewa, whose father is from Kwara and mother from Oyo, is aiming for a shadow non-voting seat in the House of Representatives. Mr. Owolewa, a PhD holder in pharmacy from the Northeastern University, Boston, is seeking to represent the District of Columbia, D.C., under the Democratic Party. If elected, the 35-year-old, whose agenda includes fighting income inequality in the U.S., will be the first Nigerian congressman in the country's history. Also at the federal level, Yomi Faparusi, an Ibadan-born native of Ode Ekiti in Ekiti State, is vying as an independent candidate to represent the state of Tennessee in the U.S. Senate. Mr. Faparusi holds a doctorate in medicine from the University of Ibadan, a PhD in health from Johns Hopkins University, and Juris Doctorate from the Widener University School of Law, Dilawali. Still on the international scene, it was at the end of the road for dozens of members of a notorious Nigerian mafia called the Vikings in Italy as the police swooped on them in the last 2 days, leading to the arrest of about 73 members of the dreaded cult, including their leader, 50-year-old Emmanuel Okenwa, aka Boye, during the week. Agency reports quoted Italian police as saying that Okenwa was arrested by undercover officers in the city of Verona as he prepared to flee the country. More than 200 Italian policemen were involved in the operation, which was carried out in Turin and Ferrara. In all, 31 people were arrested in Ferrara. A further 33 were taken into custody in Turin, including several women who allegedly run prostitution rackets. According to the Italian authorities, the Vikings and other groups traffic Nigerian women to Italy to force them to work as prostitutes. Still on the international set, Director General of the World Health Organization (WHO), Dr. Tedros, has tested positive for COVID-19. He announced the status in a series of tweets on his verified handle. According to him, he had been identified as a contact person of someone who has COVID-19 symptoms. He said he is well and without symptoms, but he will self-quarantine over the coming days and self-quarantine from home. He added that his colleagues at the WHO will continue to engage with partners in solidarity to save lives and protect the vulnerable. Dr. Tedros and other officials at the WHO have been at the forefront in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic since it broke out early in the year. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Governor Bello Matawale commiserates with victims of attack. President Muhammad Buhari calls for an end to street protests. Fashola light on 600 billion naira allocation for road construction. On business, another group of private school owners in Kano have not reduced school fees by 25%. And on the international scene, 9 Nigerian Americans are contesting in U.S. elections. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.